So this week is expected to be sort of the summit for the whole sickness that's been going around, you know, the corona cootie. I can pretty much wave my hand in the air and practically feel the fear sticking to my arm just because it's so present and so dense in the atmosphere. It's like the humidity at the Three Rivers Festival. I've been going to the grocery store. Kroger specifically, because they are the right store with the right price. And I can look in people's eyes as they take a detour around the donut table to avoid me. And I can sense the sheep that don't know their shepherd. You may be wondering why I'm referring to Kroger shoppers as sheep. This isn't an insult. Sheep are actually pretty nice. And my sheep analogy is actually plagiarized from the Bible. Sheep are mentioned in scriptures over 500 times and are indeed the most popular animal in the world's best-selling book. I did not figure that number, I googled it. I think God supports my occasional use of Google. In this book, God often speaks to us in analogies to help us grasp big cosmic concepts. And that's where these 500 plus sheep references come in. If you brought your Bible to assess the content that you're viewing on YouTube today, go ahead and turn to Psalm 100. Psalm 100, verse 3 says, "Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture." So yes, as we can infer from what David wrote here in this psalm, in the Old Testament, this is the ESV version. We can make an inference that God is our shepherd, and we are His sheep. Alright, God, that's pretty good. It's nice to know that we're His livestock. I was binge watching the news the other day, because it is one of my favorite TV shows. They were interviewing this woman who was a nurse in a hospital, and she said that every day that she went to work, she felt like a sheep that was going into a slaughterhouse. And I was standing in front of the TV, eyes wide, mouth gaping, and out loud I said, "Oh no!" I was sorry that she felt that way, but that's not it at all. We're not God's livestock. And maybe that's not how she meant for it to be interpreted, but I could feel what she was thinking. God's not a shabby, sluggish shepherd steering us toward our own doom. He's the good shepherd. He lets us lie down in green pastures. He leads us by still waters. He restores our souls. In no part of Psalm 23 or anywhere in the Bible does God direct His sheep into a slaughterhouse. And that's not what's happening right now. God isn't coming to swallow up all of mankind because we allowed TikTok to become this popular. This virus isn't from God, but God's going to use it for good. And God is going to protect those who ask Him to do so. I've been pondering a particular parable this season. Aside from the whole sheep thing, not only does Scripture say that God is our shepherd, but throughout the Bible, God has all sorts of other nicknames. Even more than God being called our shepherd, God is considered our Father. In the book of Matthew, chapter 7, Jesus says, "If a son asks their dad for bread, a bite to eat, what father in their right mind would hand the boy a stone? Or if a child asks for a fish, who's gonna toss the boy a snake?" And then Jesus says, if we, as human beings, created by God, If we know how to give good gifts to our children, how much more will our Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? I'm going to give you all a moment to ponder that. Just think about it for a second. I don't have to watch you. You can think on your own. So if we ask God to protect us, why wouldn't he? The end of Psalm 23, well, not the end, maybe the midsection, says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," and this pretty much seems like we're in the shadow of death during this time, "I will fear no evil, for you are with me.